Who do you want?
Right now, anybody got a belt. You know, I mean, me and Tyson are cool.
But there's always that one person that you're like, yo.
AJ. Belt, no belt. I'm still got to punch that scallywag, crumpets and teeth. Because if you watch it, ever since I punked his ass in New York, he's never been the same. That boy lost all his marbles. Andy smoked him. Usyk smoked him twice. And I tell people this. Media can be your worst enemy or your best friend. Media was both. They made him be something he wasn't. He's not a killer. He's not an animal. He's not a savage. I know killer's a savage in the ring. He's not one of them. So I always knew that. And I knew when he is in front of a super tough task, he's going to crump. He's going to crack. Andy did it. And Usyk just ran from him and beat him up. So, hey.
And those are the words of Jarrell, Big Baby Miller. He is calling out Anthony Joshua for the fight that never happened, the fight that changed the whole heavyweight landscape, more than likely forever. Because Jarrell Miller, you know, because of the fight not happening, another fighter got the opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua. And it's not predetermined that same result would have happened with Jarrell Miller fighting or by beating Anthony Joshua, you know. But Jarrell Miller, though, is one of those guys that's another example of a self-promoting fighter. Okay, we've been talking about self-promotion for the last couple weeks now with the Crawford and the Errol Spence issue going on. But in actuality, people, you have Jarrell Miller and Anthony Joshua, and they had bad beef. That was probably equivalent, not as bad as White Chisora 1, but it could have been to that level if they would have prolonged those promotions the way they were going. You know, the way Jarrell Miller was acting, you know, slamming his fist on the table, pushing AJ. And one thing about Jarrell Miller that you cannot argue with, that he had AJ out of his element. No doubt about it. AJ has never acted the way he acted after he was shoved across the room from Jarrell Big Baby Miller. So there's a lot of reasons this fight should happen. You know, Anthony Joshua's talking about taking a year off, this, that, and the other. I don't believe that because he has obligations. Now, the question is, will he even be allowed to go anywhere near Anthony Joshua? You know, because Eddie Hearn, of course, you know, he might have just ate some humble pie with the Conor Ben situation. So that may be a way in based on his own fighter testing positive twice this year. May be a way for Jarrell Miller to self-promote himself, to put himself back in the same position that he was in 2019, but just, you know, obviously less the money. You know, less money, less the reward. Okay. And I feel that fight should happen. That fight was being promoted very well. We've seen Anthony Joshua actually angry. We've shown him actually showing that he was angry. You know, he lost the rap battle when they were going head to head. You know, I think the gloves were off, which was never aired. Okay. So there was a lot of things that could have happened that didn't happen. And since Jarrell Miller is still undefeated, I think for Anthony Joshua, that could be a fight I think he still wants too. I still think he wants that to get in and become that surgeon that he claimed he would be by messing up Jarrell Miller's face. Okay. And Jarrell Miller is back. He's beaten a couple guys. I think he's had his last fight. Okay. And he's been successful. He's a self-promoter. We don't know if he has a chance to fight Anthony Joshua, but I think this is a fight that always probably should happen. If not now, later down the line after Jarrell Miller has fully showed himself and proved himself with a legitimate opponent, because these guys are really tune-up guys, you know, guys that knock the cobwebs off. So we don't really know how good he is on a certain level. You know what I mean? So you could argue, what has he done to deserve a fight with AJ, but the question you ask yourself, well, what the hell did he do in 19 to deserve the fight? Counterpunch. So, so he had some valid points, and on top of him being beaten 3 times and with 2 different fighters, and he's like, hey, he'll crumble, he'll do this, he'll do that. I just see another seed planted into the ground to possibly have another fight when AJ comes back to America to fight Jarrell Big Baby Miller for real this time, without the drugs, but definitely the drama. You guys tell me what you think about Jarrell Miller's call out of AJ. Of course, please subscribe, and you guys been Counterpunch. Peace!